This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore.
We live in a time politically here in the United States that the lines are drawn very clearly. There has never been a juxtaposition drawn so succinctly between two political parties as like there is right now between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. One party makes excuses for lawlessness in Donald Trump, possibly violating the Espionage Act. One party makes excuses and denies an insurrection against the United States of America, a failed coup attempt, an attempt to overthrow the United States government by way of overturning a free and fair, settled American election. And then you got the other party that maybe is too deferential to the other party, to the Republican Party in Democrats. We've got our president, Joe Biden, calling Mitch McConnell a reasonable man and an honorable man. The line is pretty clear here of who the reasonable party is, maybe too reasonable, and who the party of lawlessness and insurrection and a cult of personality surrounding one man, Donald Trump. And this juxtaposition that I'm going on and on about right now was made more clear than ever by an appearance of Hillary Clinton on CNN over the weekend. And I want to share it with you because it really is emblematic of where we are in America right now. This is Dana Bash questioning Hillary Clinton about Donald Trump's current legal predicament and what her opinions are. Now, before I play the clip, I want you to imagine if this question was asked of Donald Trump and how he would rabble-rouse and try to fire up the base rather than give a cogent and reasoned articulation of the current situation. Anyway, here's Dana Bash talking to Hillary Clinton.
While I have you, I want to ask about the FBI search at Mar-a-Lago. You said this week that you don't want to prejudge because you have been prejudged in your life. I know your infamous emails were investigated, you were cleared, but you've dealt with classified information as former Secretary of State, as a senator. If the Justice Department decides that former President Donald Trump actually committed a crime, do you think he should be treated like any other citizen? Or should the DOJ take into account the potential real-world consequences of indicting a former president and potential 2024 candidate?
I think it's a really hard call, and I cannot predict what the Justice Department will do at the end of its investigation. But I do think the rule of law, holding people accountable, is central to our nation. And both as Secretary of State and as a private citizen, I have answered every question I've ever been asked. I've testified for 11 hours. I've, been involved in anything that was asked of me to try to answer any kind of issue. I think that's the way the system is supposed to work, even if you are, not sure why you're being with the spotlight on you. And therefore, I really believe that at the end of the day, no one is above the law and no one should be escaping accountability if indeed the facts and the evidence point to them having done something that anyone else in our country would be investigated for and maybe even charged.
So it sounds like you're saying that he should be treated like he would if he was Donald J. Trump, somebody who was a civilian, an average citizen, not a former president or potential candidate?
I do, because he's not the president, and we do have some special exceptions for someone actually in the office. So I do think that just like any American, if there is evidence, that evidence should be pursued. But I know it's not an easy call, and so I don't want to inject, my opinion into that difficult calculation, because I don't know all the facts. And unlike people who jump to conclusions, I don't want to do that. But if the evidence proves or seems to show that there are charges that should be leveled, then I think the rule of law should apply to anyone.
Doesn't want to jump to conclusions, but if the evidence is there and it proves the assertions that many of us believe, he should be prosecuted like any regular citizen. From Hillary Clinton. Let's set aside Dana Bash's clumsy, some would say sinister, asking of the question that should he be treated like any other citizen, or should they consider the real world consequences of indicting an ex-POTUS and potential 2024 candidate? Those things are immaterial when speaking about someone who has broken the law time after 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 time, and done so publicly. Who cares that he is the ex-POTUS, and what real world consequences would there be? Dana Bash? Now, getting back, as I go off the rails here, excuse me, getting back to the point of the juxtaposition drawn between the two parties, I'm going to play a little video of Donald Trump on September 3rd, just over a week ago, talking about Hillary Clinton's situation relative to the mishandling of classified material. And what was his take? How did he go about talking about it? And how did his supporters who were in the crowd rally around his message? Watch this.
That just a few years ago declared no reasonable prosecutor would charge crooked Hillary Clinton after she set up a secret illegal server to hide her family's pay-for-play schemes, crammed it full of classified information, allowed it to be plundered by foreign hackers, you know that happened, and then deleted, acid-washed 30,000 emails. Think of that. 30,000 emails. And what else did she do? Boom, with a hammer, smashed her phone systems to smithereens after receiving the highest level of subpoena from the U.S. Congress.
Yeah, lock her up. With the white trash filled to the brim crowd. And we can throw up some screenshots for you. So Hillary Clinton, I don't want to inject my opinion into this. Let's wait for the facts, but if the facts do support, then yes, I would be in favor of pursuing criminal charges. Metered, reasonable, rational. Juxtaposed against Donald Trump, lock her up! When there's already been an investigation that has been concluded, and she was found to be not prosecutable. That's the difference between where we are as political parties in the United States. The party of reason, the party of decency, and lock her up with the unwashed, low information rubes who worship at the feet of Donald Trump. It's all a bit much. What do you think, though? I'd love to know. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. News doesn't stop when the camera gets turned off. So follow me on Twitter, where I'm talking about the issues all day long, much to my chagrin. I am at Dollemore on Twitter and on Instagram. I'd love to see you there. And if you appreciate what I do, you'd like to support my work, please consider clicking the join button below, becoming a channel member for as little as $2 a month, just pennies a day. or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast and support my work there on Patreon. I love you guys. I appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. I'd love to hear from you about this. Be genuine. Take care of one another.